Our vision is to create future citizens who can impact lives around them by following their passion. We have initiated this webinar series Impact Talks with an aim to motivate and inspire the school students that you can excel in the field that you are passionate about through the talks by this experienced one. So welcome to the fourth talk of Impact Hut. First of all, thank you everyone for signing up for the talk and ma'am for taking out from her busy schedule and sharing her time with us. So the speaker we have is Ms. Shashanka Ala. She's an IIT Madras alumni. Then she's joined the civil services and she served as a district collector and deputy commissioner at Langdal, Mizoram. She is currently the additional secretary of labor, skill development and entrepreneurship at Aizawl. She is known for her Anganwadi programs and her pioneer projects My School, My Farm, which is believed to have revolutionized the food security and agriculture in the area. So without further ado, we'll start with the first question. Ma'am, the first question is, what were your dreams as a child? From those dreams to IIT Madras and now currently a civil servant in Northeast. So how has this journey been? Like,
Hanusha, before I start, can you give me a
yeah.
quick introduction of who are the people present and what kind of audience are we talking to?
Sure, ma'am. So we have school students, we have some school teachers, and we have some principals and also some parents over here. It's a mix of three audience. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to meet you all on this web platform. And anything to do with IIT Madras is obviously very dear to me. And I had jumped on the opportunity when Hanusha had informed me. So quickly, we will not take too long today. I have a son who's wailing around because it is Saturday. Um, um, my dream, in fact, I think I always wanted to be a civil servant ever since, like, I think 10 standard or so. And that was primarily because my parents are both in central government and they always thought that, that their daughter should be like their boss or something. So just to put things in perspective, both my parents, my father is a doctor, my mother is an engineer. Both of them are in central government, and they have two daughters. That is me and my sister. And both of us, one of us is an engineer, one of us is a doctor, and both of us are in the IAS right now. So it is just that from childhood, our parents kept saying, forget parents, I think I'll just say father. My father kept saying that, his sometime in his school, the collector had come to see him in school sometime. So he was very like, oh my god, who's this person who's come as a collector, and there is all lots of halchal in the school. So that's when he decided that I want to become this person. And since he could never become, maybe he kept saying it to us that you should become, you should become, you should become. So we just made that our dream, me primarily. But it didn't really mean much. Like, I didn't know what it means. I didn't know what it means to be an IAS or to be a civil servant. I just knew when ask me, what do you want to become? I'd say, I want to be IAS. And people would be like, wow. So that wow feeling would just make me say it again and again. But it didn't mean much to me. But secondly, I think in 12th standard or 11th standard, parents are like, just do well and get into, if you're doing engineering, get into a good college. If you're doing medicine, get into a good college. So we just ended up studying really hard. And I'm from Hyderabad, so it was only about medicine and engineering most of the time. And then I got into IIT. And I think somewhere around my fourth year, I was in dual degree. So at somewhere around my fourth year to fifth year, that time I had understood what civil services means, what newspapers mean, what current politics mean. That time I had understood what civil services means. And then I had decided that I will not sit for placements. And then I had taken up this. And it was a 1.5 year journey to prepare. And then I got through. And then it has been I don't know. I don't know. It's been like a hurricane after that. First I was in Odisha, then I was in Delhi, then I moved to Mizoram, and Mizoram. I think I'm in my eighth posting now in the last 5 to 6 years. So that's my journey. So also I'm married to a civil servant who is my batchmate, and he's also here with me in Mizoram. So that makes it a little easier for us to be in the Northeast, because you're not really, half family here, half family there, makes it more difficult. So that way, I think I'm okay.
Yeah, it pretty much we could see your journey, ma'am. So moving up to the next question. So there would have been some few uncertain times during your career where you have to solve some challenging problems and take some important decisions. So how do you apply the concepts you have learned, say during your college or during your foundational course, to the reality? Like how do you apply those concepts in practice? What is your approach during those situations and what will be your mindset?
Okay. So basically, civil services, or at least as an IAS officer, I think our job is always and every time to solve. And we always find ourselves in positions. Basically, it is decision making. And I don't even know. In fact, when I saw your question, when you had sent me these questions a couple of days back, I was actually thinking maybe I should make a note of all the decisions I take in one day, and there would roughly be 500, I think. Everything is a decision. Every file is a decision. Every I don't know, like everything you're asking somebody, and everybody who walks into your door comes with an expectation of a yes or a no. And you
Yeah.
frankly being able to take that yes or a no is in itself a big decision, and that obviously has a lot of history. So I think the way we are trained, what we are trained is that we have a few principles put into us, like neutrality, honesty, steadfastness, and things like this, which we are using, I don't know, subconsciously. Like it's not like, when somebody walks into me, I'm like, am I being honest or am I being fast? It just comes automatically to us, and we are always taking decisions. So if I were to quote some examples, and also I see quite a few ladies in the panel here. So I'll also if I take some leverage, and as a woman, it is as a lady officer, you have sometimes more decisions to take. So there was this one time where we were conducting elections to the Lok Sabha. And so in MP elections, what we I don't know whether you all are aware or not, we have a huge machinery moving to 300 villages, like in 2 days, because it's a northeast. Sometimes it takes more than 24 hours to reach one place. So and more than 2 3 kinds of modes of transport. First they go by car, then they stop, take a boat, go beyond, and then again take another car and go. So there was this one time when elections were held in last April. And what we had to do was we had to send the polling parties, and they had to reach by, let's say, tomorrow. Like tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock is the voting start, and the polling party had not reached till 2 a.m. in the night, and there was absolutely no connect. There was no connection. There was no way. There's no phone connection. We don't know whom to send, what to send. How do you know whether they've reached, they've started, they've not started, they have put up their devices, their devices will work, they will have electricity to switch it on? We had no idea. It was raining cats and dogs. And we had CEO calling me up and saying, have they reached? And there was the last polling party to have gone, to have not given their reached signal. And I was like, what, my job is gone. Tomorrow I'm going to get a good, nice letter for disciplinary action that tomorrow you are out of your position. But luckily, sometime you're thinking on your toes. Yeah. So there was one school teacher who was registered with us, and so we had called up the nearby village school teacher, and that school teacher whom we could give the signal to had ran up to this village on cycle in the middle of the night at 2 or 2:30 a.m. I don't know. And then he had got information from them that they just reached like 5 minutes back, because the boat would not move. The water was, the fury of the water was very high, and things like that. And that teacher finally had given him signal, and then that teacher came back at 4 a.m. in the morning to back to his village and gave us the signal that they've reached and they will start the polling. And then when I had given back that information, things were okay. But I'm just saying that, you don't know what to do most of the times. And one if one is confident that you can solve it, I think you will be able to solve it.
Okay, so that is like confidence is important while problem solving. That's what we take up from it. So the next thing is the third question is so all of us would have had failures, and we are always told to be positive, and we have these famous quotes like failure is a stepping stone to success and all these. But in reality, it is very difficult. So what will be your mindset while dealing with say failures? Or if you could tell us some incident where you are like too low, and how did you bounce back from that?
Okay, so I think I will be the poster child of failure turning into success, because if you may say so, because in IIT I didn't fare very well. I barely, when I graduated, I was barely a seven, and I really did very, very bad in my first and second year. So first year, it was terrible. Like, I thought I would never, graduate from IIT. It was that terrible. But second year, I got slightly better, and I think somewhere, I needed that push also, that everything is not like you can just sleep it away and then it would get through. So first and second year was terrible, so much so that my parents had to intervene in between and say, you know what, this is not right, you'll have to turn your life around. And that time you don't understand what that means. That time it is about just getting your grades, and you're like, okay, fine. And Vasabi, I think adolescent age, 18 to 25, is a very, very different age in children, where you are sort of, you think you know everything, but you actually know nothing. Like that age is like that. And I'm sure all of us have gone through it. And so that time when my parents would say, no, no, this is not done, you turn your life around, and I'd be like, okay, I'm doing good, like I don't need any suggestion like that. But I think fourth year when I had come, and then I realized, shit, I should have done slightly better. And that's when I decided, I know, if with a 7 point, if I go to placements also, I will not be placed very well, number one. And two, I know that I don't have an interest in this. So basically, I think when you fail sometimes, it is very, very important to understand why you are failing. And I don't say this to an adolescent, because you might not even understand that much. But if you are in a stage wherein you can self work on yourself, you must understand why you're failing. Is it because you don't understand what you're doing, or is it because you're not interested in what you're doing? So for me, it was mostly interest. And I think with most IITians, or with most people who have, cleared some kind of exam and come, it is that if you've cleared that exam, then you were smart in the first place. It's not like, you would not have cleared it just like that. So I'm saying, if you're failing, try and understand why is the reason that you're failing, and work in that direction. So if you're failing because you didn't have interest, so then that's when I had clearly realized that I will not gain with engineering, because I'm not interested. I don't understand. I don't feel like putting my time into it. Second, if you are interested but you don't know how to go about it, then you will seek help in that direction. Let's say you're writing class 10 board exams, or you're writing any exam for that matter. If you're not faring well in science, try and understand why. And don't always, I think, don't always fight everything. Like adolescents, always want to fight. Like, I don't want to do this, I don't like this, I don't like that. It's not that. If there is some importance of some subjects that have to be done, then you have to do it. And I think the second failure, which is very personal to me, is even in civil services. The first time I was about to give the exam, like, tomorrow is the exam, the first exam. Tonight I was full cold feet. I was like, you know what, I don't think I can do it, I'm not prepared. And if you believe or not, I did not go to the exam the next day. And this was
Oh,
my first civil services attempt. And I did not go for the exam, and everybody was like, you've been preparing for this for a couple of months, and how can you not? And if my parents were like, beta, don't worry, just go write the exam. If you don't clear, it doesn't matter. But I was like, no, I cannot face the exam. But and then when once you do something like that, I'm not proud of it and I don't tell too many people about it, but I want to tell children that don't do that to yourself. Because if you do it, the next time when you're writing it, you are even fighting whether I should go for the exam or not, leave alone doing well in the exam. And that is one more hurdle that you create for yourself. So don't ever do that. Don't put yourself in that emotional distress. There is no need of any of that. It is unnecessary emotional distress that children put themselves through, that we put ourselves through. Because, like I said, we think we know everything, but we know nothing. Like the world is huge out there. So I somehow, I think then after like 5 6 months I got confident. And see, confident one only gets with hard work, and that is all your life. Even cooking is like that. One does not get cooking just by reading or by watching YouTube. Until unless you work hard, until unless you cook that particular dish or you write that particular exam, you're never going to get confidence. So the first step of doing it is to actually do it and wait for the result, and it doesn't matter. So I think failures, if you talk about it, I've had many failures. And even in my career also, everything is not easy. Sometimes with some decision of ours, there are floods that are coming, there are earthquakes. If we don't if I don't use my head in that particular minute and decide how to give them that particular device or that particular machinery, or if I don't call those people at that minute of time, they people die. Like there is, it's life and death, and we are sitting in that chair. And if you're sitting in that chair, then only confidence will take you forward. You cannot just be like, oh my god, I failed at that time, so bad. No, it's not going to be that. Every day is a new journey, everything is new, and you fail in a few and you win in a few.
Yeah, that's yeah, like taking decisions and failure. Yeah. So the next one is what is the importance of empathy and working together? Like in the current generation, we are always like everyone, like we are in nuclear families and people are doing everything alone. No one is doing like group studies like it were used to be previously. So what is the value of empathy and working together?
See, I don't know. I think empathy and working together are two different things. Okay. Empathy is generally when you have to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Okay, that is empathy. That is not working together. Working together is the two different things. And empathy, I think, totally depends on what position you are in. Like sometimes in most corporate jobs, you don't really have, you're not putting yourself always into that all the time. You just have two or three issues to take up, and then you do it, and then you go across. But empathy is a very important emotion for a human being. And I always think that without it you will not grow. So if you don't understand the plight of the person in front of you, or to the people who work for you or work with you, then you're not growing as a human. And if you're not growing as a human, then there's no point being human, literally. About working together. Okay, working together, I might have a different perspective from the group studies that you're talking about, because I think I'm sort of out of college now, so I don't understand that much. For us, group studies meant a lot because it meant a lot of chit chat and a lot of time pass. So that was always the thing, and we would always love to go to a group study. But working with people, yes, I get it. And I get it that the whole idea that we are nuclear families and a lot of people have not even seen their grandparents or not lived with a lot of people, so there's just two or three people in a family, or four at the max, and then we don't get it. But in our profession, and in fact the way our country is going ahead, I think it's all about being together. Most of the time, it is that. And I'm sorry if even this question is coming up, because the more we say it's a global village and this and that, it's because we are all getting together. And in my case of work, it is always that, if you um, everything doesn't have on paper. Like if I want some law and order situation to be controlled, or if I, let's say, yeah, the doctors, especially we're using the in the COVID situation right now, so you have a lot of things that have to be done along with the doctors. Everything we cannot just put it in black and white. I cannot send out orders and assume that everybody will follow. They might follow because they have to follow a line of direction, but that's not a healthy work. In fact, I am this sort of person that if um, even if my maid does not gives me like a rough stare sometimes when I give her a little more of work, I get very like agitated. Like I have like a thing in my mind which is like literally eating me up, and basically it's not a happy space, and when it's not a happy space, I'm not happy, literally. And when I'm not happy, it takes away my brain from something else. So basically what I'm trying to say is, when you work together and when you have a good working condition, a good working space, you're in a much more positive space in your brain, and by which you can uh, gain more and obviously achieve more. So that's that.
So the final question is, what is your advice for the school kids of the current generation? Like, what do you think they should be working on?
School kids, I don't know, I think the best thing is to, whatever you're doing, I get a lot of these questions even from college students. I want to be an IAS and I want to do this. My suggestion is this: just do whatever you're doing at your best. You cannot become an IAS today if you don't do well in your school, and then if you don't do well in your college. Don't jump the ladder. All of us have done school, all of us have done college, and then we've moved on. So basically, do well wherever, whatever you're doing. And school, I think, is the best time to try different things. Try and decide what you're looking at, what you crafts, arts. Don't just decide in school itself that my calling is to be a singer. I suggest that it's too early to decide in school. In school, it is just be an open slate, do all your subjects well, and do really well, and try and understand from different people what are the different careers in life, and then and sorry, not even careers. What are the good colleges one could go to? Don't jump ladders. Go, just be open. Don't decide in like class 7. I want to be an actor, so which means I don't have to study. Most children do that, okay? And I know a few of my cousins also who say, what, I want to become a singer. I don't have to study. It's not me. I just have to barely pass. That attitude, I think, will never take you anywhere. You have to build an attitude which says, what, I am in school, and my idea of school is to finish school with a good percentage. And when I'm finishing school, I want to be aware of all the opportunities that are available to me in college. What are the good colleges? What do colleges offer? And then same thing for college students also. In college also, do well in your college. Try and understand what are the career options after college, but when you're doing your college well. This is one. And my last thing is, I think, as human beings, we always every day have to evaluate ourselves, both mentally and the work that we are doing. Evaluate whether you're getting to be a better human being. Like I would suggest that, you know especially for adolescents, since you're new to a lot of things, everything is looks very beautiful, which I know I might be sounding like I'm giving a sermon or something, but at the risk of doing that, I think, evaluate yourselves. Like, has your anger reduced? Are you able to concentrate more? If there are issues in concentrating, then seek out for help. If you feel that you're not liking something, or there's something that is irritating you, agitating you, I think you should always seek out for help. And you should try and, basically, if you work on yourself, you always know what you're feeling, and you know why you're feeling. And if you're evaluating and you're able to put it out in that many words, then I'm sure seeking help will be easier. That's it.
Yeah. That I think we are pretty much done here. So thank you so much, ma'am, for sparing your time with us. And it was a very insightful talk. We could learn a lot from your journey, your take on mistakes and problem solving. It was very insightful. Hope the audience also felt the same. So thank you everyone for signing up. So there's also the Google Form link we have given in the comment section for the rest of the talks we have in the coming weeks. So you could register and you could hear from people like ma'am in the upcoming sessions.